All right, let me know that if you can be able to see my screen, everyone. Is that my screen is visible?
Yes, brother, it's visible.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So what we have done in the last session, we have discussed about the IP addresses, correct? So we have discussed an IP address, how the binary form will be there, what are the classes we have. So we have seen that any IP address is divided in the form of network and host. So it depends upon the classes, how many network and how many hosts can be there. We'll see that. So in the IP addresses, we have seen the class A, class B, and class C. So class A, we have one network, three hosts. Class B, we have the two network and two hosts. And if I talk about the class C, we have seen the three network and one host. So what is about the host here? So we have seen about the network in detail about it. If I talk about the host can be anything between 0 to 255, which we have seen. 0 is used for the subnet mask, 1 is used for the gateway, and 255, which is used for the broadcast. We know that, right? Now, guys, there are the two type of IP addresses where we have it, right? One is a public IP address, the other is private IP address. So can anybody tell me that what is the difference between the public and private IP address, if you know? What is the difference between, so whenever we say any IP address we have it, okay? So whenever we are seeing that any IP address, there are two types. One is private IP address, we have it, and the other we have it as a public IP address, correct?
The public IP address would be like using Starbucks or public places,
Mm-hmm,
airport,
mm-hmm,
and private is of a company, of your house.
mm-hmm. Okay, fine.
Public IP used for WAN network.
Okay, yes. Okay, like let me make it more clear for you guys. So how it happens, let's imagine a situation. See, this is our computer. Imagine a situation, right? This is a computer. The computer is going to get an access to the internet, correct? So for that, we have the router here. So let us consider that this is my router, Wi-Fi router I have it. Now, when I want to get an access to the internet, I should have the internet connections, right or no? I must have some ISP. If I have only the router, if I connect my computer to the router, can I be able to get an access to the internet? Is that possible? No, right? Until unless we
No.
don't have ISP services. Like internet service provider, we must have to take some ISP services, right? So means like the router must connect to these ISP services, then only we can connect the internet, correct? Everyone. This is nothing but
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
your internet connection. It means like what I want you to understand you that here, ISP is nothing but the internet service provider. So this is my internet connections where I'm doing it here in a very simple way. So what happens here? Let's have a look on this. So when I come here, like between my workstations, or let us consider in a very simple way, this is our laptop. It can be any device, okay? It can be mobile phone, it can be smart TV or anything. So the laptop is connecting to the router, correct? So when the laptop is connecting to the router, there is one process is that this user will get one IP address. So these IP address can be considered as a private IP address. This is called as a private IP address. So the private IP addresses will be given between your router to the laptop here. So these portion of our network till here, right? Can I consider this as LAN? May I say you that this is a LAN network? Yes or no, everyone? Local
Yes.
area network. This is a local area network through which I'm getting an access to the private. Now, when I'm going to connect to the internet, so at least I require one public IP address. So it means like these connections where we are seeing that it happens on the public IP address. So it is a public IP address. Excuse me, brother.
अभी
So,
सोया है वो इतनी खांसी है उस बच्चे को
so here we can see that this can be considered as a public IP address. So we can see that the private IP address which are there between your computer and the router when we have connected. That is we call as a private IP address. And the same thing, the routers connects to the internet. That means like we have one public IP address. So this is can be considered like where the connections will establish and through which the communications happens. Correct? Am I clear, everybody? So the public IP address is always we consider that is a paid one. Say paid. It's not free. Correct or not? We are paying certain charges, the subscription charges, right? When I want to get an access to these services, are we paying some certain thing or not? Subscription plan for that, correct? Yes,
So it can be Act Fibernet is considered ISP, right?
yes, it can be considered that act papernet or like your TNT
Any
or
local
any internet services that will be considered as a like public.
public. Okay.
Okay. Now the private IP, if I talk about it, it's completely free here. So whenever we are saying that if we have the private IP address, that is will be considered as a which is always as a free. You don't need to pay anything through the our private network. I may get an access to this here. So the private IP address is free. The public IP address is paid here. So whenever you want to get any services, get access, that this happens on the public IP address. In fact, all the services. Let me just tell you example here. Now, how we can identify if that is a private or public? What IP address is the private, and how those IP address can be a public here. So whenever we are seeing that, there are the certain ranges are there. So as we have seen that like class A, class B, class C, right? So whenever we are seeing that, the similar way here also we have some ranges here. Now what are the ranges can be there here? So let me just give you one example here. So if I say that like class A IP address, which is getting start from the 10 dot, right? 10.0.0.02, 10.255.255.255 means like any IP address with starting with the 10, it will be considered as a private IP address. This is a private IP address range. Now, after that, what we have it, we have this will be considered as a class A IP addresses as a private range. The same thing, if I'll talk about the other, we have it like the range, which is for the class B here. So class B range start from 172, correct? Yes or no, everyone? So 172.16.0.02, 172.31.255.255. These are the range can be considered as a like this is a private considered for the class B here. Now we have another class C here. So when I say the class C, any IP address, right? 192.168.0.0 till if you can see that 192.255.168.255.255.255. So it means like whenever we are seeing that here between these classes, any IP address after 192.168, it will be considered as a private IP address. So these are the IP addresses which can be considered as a private IP address ranges. Okay. Now, if I'll say you that, let's imagine a situation. I have my address here. Let's say this. So the IP address is 192.168.29.234. Let us consider. So if I have this IP address, what do you think, guys? This is a private or public? I have this one IP address and also I have one other IP address. Let me show you that. I have this IP address also. Now we have the two IP address. One is 192.168.29.234. Other IP address is 142.250.206.110. So which is the private, which is the public IP address?
192.168.29.234 is the private IP address, while 142.250.206.110 is the public IP address.
Yes. So something which is not 10, 172 or 192, it's a public IP address, correct? Yes or no? Everyone.
Yes.
Yes, so we can see the ranges here. These are the ranges which can be there for the private and public here. Now, public IP address is the paid one, right? So whenever we say the
Yes.
public IP address is the paid one, we have to pay certain amount for that. So this is will be considered as a paid services when we are having. Now, private IP address is free. Like how it will be get, how the user will get an IP address. Let me tell you something here. Now, let's imagine a situation. I have one ISP service here. Let's see that. This is my ISP service. Okay. Now, as we can see that we have one router here. So let's say that this is your Wi-Fi router we have. Now, this is our Wi-Fi router here. We can see that, and we have the ISP services, and this is connected to this. Now we have the several devices. Let's imagine. So imagine a situation that I have one laptop here. Okay. Let us consider this is a laptop, or we have a group of workstations. I have some mobile devices. Let's consider this is my mobile device. I have some tab. Let's say that this is my tab, right? These are the devices we have. Now these devices, these devices has to be connected to the internet. So what is the most important thing is that required if these devices are going to connect to the internet? If these devices is want to get an access to the internet, what is the most important thing they need?
The router.
Router is there. We have the router, right? We have the ISP.
Switches.
We can connect to the wireless connection also, na? Yes. Wi-Fi connections are there. We have been there with the coverage area
Mhm.
of these Wi-Fi connections. We have the password for this Wi-Fi router as well. So we can put that router password and we can connect, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Then what? If I want to get an access to the internet, what I need?
To get an access, I think IP address, because every device have different IP address.
Yes, Nazish, you're right. The most important thing is that whenever a device want to get connected to the internet, they require an IP address. This is a very important here. So the IP address should be needed for these devices here. So these devices needed, as we can see that they require an IP address. Now, how this IP address can be get allocated? Now, the IP address can be allocated by the router in the two forms. One is we can see that there is automatic form. The other we have it that can be considered as manual. So we have one that is an automatic. The other we can consider that can be a manual here. So this is how the IP addresses can be allocated. Now, when I say that the automatic, so automatic has been given by there is one process is called as we have DHCP. We call as a dynamic host configure protocol. With the help of these process, we can be able to get an automatic IP address. Now, these DHCP services, when I talk about it, is always there with the router. The router have the DHCP services built it with them. The router consider the DHCP services, which can be considered as an automatic, and IP address can be allocated. There is also the process here where we can see that the user will get a manual IP address. Now, in this case, what happens? Let's imagine a situation. If I'm going to on my Wi-Fi connections, let's say that if I'll go to the Wi-Fi connections and if I can click on these connections here, and if you can see that when I edit this, I have two options, right? One is manual, other is automatic. Automatic it shows the DHCP, correct? Are you able to see
Yeah.
this here, right?
Yes.
So automatic is showing as a DHCP, where through which the IP address can be get allocated to the user. So this is the private IP address which I'm talking about. So here, as we can see that when I talk about this process, when the user are going to get an IP addresses, that is with the DHCP service. Now, where is this DHCP services there in the router? Router is contain the DHCP services, correct? Everyone,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah,
can I say
I
that
didn't get that. Sorry, sir, I didn't get that.
what
Your last statement, the router is what? You said the router is
the
connected to the
router, yeah,
DSCP.
yeah, router having the DHCP services. It's enabled with the
Okay.
DHCP services. So whenever we see that the user are going to get an IP address, right? So it's going to be
Yeah.
happen with the router here. Okay. So router having the DHCP services. So can I say that the router can be considered as DHCP server? Can I say that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Right? Because it contains the DHCP service, right? So DHCP service is contained by the router. So we can consider that DHCP server can be considered as a router here. Now the device need like our computer, the laptop, the mobile phone, the smart TV, your refrigerator, your microwave oven, that can be the dishwasher or anything. Any other IoT devices also need an IP address, so that will be considered as a DHCP client. Correct? Yes.
Yes.
So can I say that this is
Yes.
as a DHCP client? Is that okay, everybody? Are you getting my point? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So we have a DHCP server, we have a DHCP client here. Now, how does this IP address will be get allocated to the user? So whenever we are talking about the DHCP process, there is something called as a DORA. Have you ever heard about this DORA, anyone?
No.
Okay. So there is a process called as a DORA through which the user will get an IP address. Now DORA is nothing but we call as a discover, offer, request, and acknowledge. DORA is discover, offer, request, and acknowledge, through which the IP address can be get allocated to the user here. Now, before I go ahead to this part, I would like to tell you something more here. Let's imagine a situation. This is our computer. Okay. This is our computer. Now, through which this computer, what you're going to do is you're going to reach to the one of the service here. Okay. Let's see that this is one of the services. Let's imagine a situation that can be considered as a Google services, like google.com or something like that. So if you want to reach these services, what you will do it, guys? How will reach to the google.com?
Yeah, we do manually type the google.com website.
First, we'll open the browser, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
We'll open the browser and we try to reach to the google.com. So while when we are getting access to the web services, we might gonna use something called as a HTTP, or it can be the HTTPS, correct? Yes
Yes.
or
Yes.
no?
Correct.
Right?
Protocols.
Yeah, this is the protocols through which we are going to communicate. Like, if I want to reach to the google.com, it's a very simple way. We'll type the HTTPS www.google.com on our browser through which it's getting reached. Now, as you can see that when I type the service request as a HTTPS, which is from my client to the server, so the server is going to connect to the HTTPS. So HTTPS have one port number, right or not? HTTPS work on the port number 443. Have you ever heard about this? Anyone?
No.
The port number is 443, where the communications happens. All right. Means like every service have a certain port. In fact, in the computer, if I talk about in the networking or the internet, if I talk about whatever our computer, our applications, our device, when they get communicate, they have the port number that is 0265,535. These many ports are there. Okay. So from these ports, there are some fixed port are there for the certain services where it's going to be get communicated. So here we can see that one of the example about the HTTPS, which are working on the port number 443. Now, in fact, if we are going now, we are doing this Zoom meeting, right? Yes or no? Everyone, we are doing this Zoom meeting, correct? So it means like between my computer and the Zoom application, there is some transaction happening, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
So means like if we can see that this is our computer, like this is my computer, and I'm getting communicate also with the Zoom meeting, and the Zoom also sending me some information to my computer. Means like the transactions happen from my computer to the Zoom and Zoom to the my computer. So for these application also there is some port numbers are there. Okay. So let us see that. So support source port and destination port we can see that. Let me give you one example here. So this is where I'm going to show you about the packet transaction. So this is the live packet transaction is happening between my computer to the Zoom meeting. So here, if you can see that, I'm just going to pause this to get you understand better. So here we can see that 192.168.29.234 is my IP address for my computer. Now we have a source port. Are you able to see this here, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Right? What is the
Yes.
source port here? 53814, right? Can you see this here?
Computer, computer,
53814 is the port for my computer, and for the destination 170.114.119.118. This is be a Zoom where the port number is 8801. Correct? You got my
yes.
point, everybody? So it means like whenever over the computer, whenever we are getting communicate, there is certain port numbers are there. Okay. Now let's take example. I'm going to reach to the google.com. Okay. So let's say that I reach the google.com. Right. Now what is the protocol I have used here?
HTTPS.
HTTPS.
Now what I'm going to do it HTTPS port number. Simple way. What is the HTTPS port number here, guys?
33.
443.
Right? For HTTP is a port number 80 here. Okay. If I say the HTTP service if you are using, then the port number is 80 here. You
80.
got my point. So it
Mm-hmm.
means like whenever we are getting communicate with the server, any type of these servers, where the client will send a request to the server, right? So the server is working on the port number HTTPS. If it is a HTTPS, the port number is 443. Now, if you ask me, okay, this would be the port number for this server. Now, what would be the client? Client will get one port number. That will be a different port number, can be there here. The similar way, as we have, now what is the intention of explaining you this? So here we see that this is my client. So can I say that this is as a DHCP client? Okay, everyone, DHCP
Yes.
client we have it. So this is can be considered as a DHCP client. Now DHCP client is going to communicate with the DHCP server, correct?
Yes.
As
Right?
an router.
Yeah. You consider that is the router is considered the DHCP server. Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
here, when the DHCP client is going to communicate with the DHCP server, there are the two port numbers which are fixed. What is that port numbers are there? So whenever we talk about here, the DHCP server is getting communicate 68 and the 67. There are two port numbers are there, 68 and 67. So 68 can be considered for the client which is used to send the request and receive it, and server, which is going to work on the port number 67 here. Got it? Now here, if you can see that this is the protocol we have it here. Now, if I'll say that what is the port number for DHCP here? Can you see that here? 67 and 68,
Mm.
correct? Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see the 67, 68, how does it communicate? Means like whatever the information they send or receive, based on these port numbers, the informations will get exchanged here. Now, how is the process are there? So let me make it more easy here. What I'll do is DSCP Dora process will take it, and I'm going to go to the images. I'll take one of the image here. Let me take this one. So let me explain you something here. Now here, guys. So what we can see that here. Can you tell me that what are the information you are getting here? What information we are getting here, everyone?
TCP protocol.
So here it says that when we are talking about it, whenever we are saying that, so here we have certain information that related to the client here. So this is the client, this is the server, right? So DORA process,
Okay.
discover, offer, request, acknowledge. Correct? So DSCP
Yeah,
DORA
correct.
process is discover. Now just I said you that the port number is 67 and 68, correct? For the
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
DSCP. So the client is having the port number as 68. If you can see that the client having the 68, the server having the port number as 67. Okay. Now, when the client have no IP address, the client having no, here there's no IP address, right? So that will be considered as 0.0.0.0. The client having no IP address. Now the server is working on which IP address? It is always will be as a gateway, na?
19.
Can I say that one? One is the router, na? In the last session we have seen. If you remember that, one is always be in router, correct or not? Example, let me explain you here. Somewhere I have talked. Yeah, here I talked. One is the gateway, na? Gateway is the router, correct or not?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, one is the gateway, that is router, and 255, what is that?
Broadcast.
Broadcast.
Broadcast, right? So now let me just explain you based on this. So here we see that whenever I'm talking about it, the client is this one, right? And this is still here is fine, right? We'll go slowly and very clearly. So I want you to understand this, what we have done here so far. So what we have done here, if we can see that we have the port we have taken as 67 and 68 port for the DSCP. Client work on the 68, the server work on the 67. Client have no IP address. That's the reason it can be considered as 0.0.0. The server actual IP address is 192.168.0.1, right? Now the client don't know who's the server. Okay, let me give you one example here. Imagine a situation, we have one auditorium or the class or something like that, okay, where we have many people inside in this. Okay, there is some around, like, let us consider some 50, 60 people are there in this room. Okay, now among these, we have to meet one person. His name is Raj. Let's imagine. We want to meet one person, Raj, but we don't know who's this Raj is there among these all persons. We're going to meet him first time. Okay. So what we are going to do it? So I'm entering in this room. Okay. Now here I'm announcing the name as Raj. So it's a point-to-point message or point-to-multi-point message? What do you think, guys?
Point
It's
to
a
point.
point-to-point, huh?
Point to point.
Point-to-point is for only one, na? One to one, na? But this is from one to many, right?
Here broadcast.
It means like when I'm sending this message, it's not
It's
one
like a
person.
hub.
Yeah, it's kind of it, but let me understand you this. So it is broadcasting to all, right? It's like a hub, as you said, the same way. But here, Raj is this guy here, right? Let's take example. So Raj start communicating with you directly now, right? But first we have done the broadcast here, the point to multi-point. Then the Raj came here, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
So the similar way, if we'll see that over our communications, whenever we are having it here, so here you can see that the first message is a discover message. So when I talk about the discover message here, the client is sending these packet as to the 255 first. It broadcasts this to 255. Now, what is the 255? 255 IP address is the broadcast address. We know very well, right? Because the client
Yes.
don't know who the server is there. So this will go to the entire network, whatever the devices are there. From that, if the server receive this request, server is going to reply. The server is going to reply, hey, I'm responsible for giving you an IP address. So I'm offering you one IP address. So it offer, it not allocate, it just offer that IP address. Okay. It says that your IP address is something like 192.168.0 dot something, something, something. Okay. So where the IP address is getting offered to the client. Now, client have received a request that is receiving an IP address. So this offer is given by the server. Now the client will say that, okay, I'm requesting you this IP address to be assigned me. Then finally, the server is giving an acknowledge, yes, this IP address is got assigned you here. So the client will get an IP address here. Correct? You got rough idea about this, everyone?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. But let's see how this happens in detail. Okay. So here we can see that. mm, let me show you this practically how this is happening. Okay. Over the protocol hierarchy, I have captured one packet for DACP. I'll show you later how you can capture this packet also. Okay. So dynamic host configure protocol is a DACP, correct? Yes or no, everyone?
Correct.
Now I'm gonna take this one. I'll select this. So over this, we have discussed the process of discover, offer, request, acknowledge. Correct? This is a DORA
Yes.
process, right? Now, what is the
Yes.
client port number according to us? What is the client port number here?
68,
What is the server port number?
67.
67.
67. So here we can see that the client port number is 68, the source port. Can you see it here? The server port is 67. Are you able to see this here, everyone? Yes.
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 Now the client have no IP address means it dot 0.0.0. Are you able to see this? Yes.
Yes.
So the
Mm-hmm.
client have no IP address, so it can be considered as 0.0.0. Client is working on the 68. So according to a process which we have discussed here, the client is broadcasting this to the 255 here. Can you see this here, everyone? Right?
Yes.
So it is a broadcast IP address. So if you can see that it's a 255.255.255 is a broadcast message, right?
Yes.
So it is going to the DSCP, that is a discover packet. So here we can see that the DSCP dynamic host configure, where we can see that it's a broadcast this packet here. So when they broadcast, this is the vendor, like, this is the client MAC address. Client IP address is 0.0.0, as you can see that, where we don't have any IP address here. So we have broadcast this. Now the second, if we are broadcasting this, if we can see that some detail here. So here we can see that the IP addresses. So what are those IP addresses is that? So 255.255.255 is the destination address. The source address is your computer. So our client, the DSCP client, which can be considered as 0.0.0 here. Now here, if we can see that client IP address is this one. This is the MAC address of my computer, correct or not?
Hmm.
Right? And why this IP address is there? Why this MAC address like FFFFF here? Because if you remember in the last session, I've already said you that whenever we see the broadcast IP address, the broadcast MAC address is FFFFF here. Right? This is a static. Correct or not?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes or no? So everyone, if you even you can go ahead and can check, you get the same details there, right? So you're gonna get the same details like which is been considered as a broadcast MAC address. Okay. Now here we can see that this is how the broadcast MAC address can be there for the client here. Now we got the source and destination here where you can see. Now what next we have? The client is going to offer an IP address. So here, so dynamic host configure protocol here we can see that, and this is an offer message here we got it. So these offer is says that the client is going to offer. So what is the client IP is getting offer here, guys? 192.168.0.173, and the next server IP is 192.168.0.1. One is your gateway. So these IP address is going to map on these MAC address. So the client MAC address is 194E23C1C5994, where the IP address can be like 192.168.0.173 is going to be mapped here. Are you getting my point, everyone? Is that clear? Say me yes if it is all clear.
Sorry for interrupt, brother. Like I didn't get the MAC address. Like what is
See,
MAC address?
MAC address is nothing but the media access control. Like if I'll tell you that, see, whenever you're getting, like, one router is there and there the multiple devices are there over the router. Possibilities are there. If you take an example of our home network, over the home network, your one mobile phone is not connected to the router, right? There might be a
Yes.
multiple mobile phone and multiple computers, laptops are connected. Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
each device are getting uniquely identified by using the MAC address, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you remember in the last, you were there in the last class.
No, I was not there.
Okay, that is the reason. Because yesterday we have discussed already about the MAC address. So MAC address is the
Mm-hmm.
unique address for the NIC card, which have been allocated and which can be used to identify any user on the network. Okay. So whenever the IP address is allocating over the network, it is also map on the MAC address that we call as a ARP regulations. Okay.
So the IP address and the MAC address both are different or same?
Yeah, it will be always a different, na?
Mm-hmm.
See, I'll tell you one simple way. Imagine a situation. You came for a vacation to the some farmhouse. Okay. You came for a
Mm-hmm.
vacation to the some farmhouse, and I'm giving you on bike. Okay. To get
Mm-hmm.
have enjoy or somewhere you want to travel or something like the bike I'm allocating to you, right? So the particular bike number and to whom I'm allocating to to Nazir Ahmad. Let's take example. So your identification, these bike will be there to your this bike is assigned to your person. Like the person is some identification I have it. Correct or not?
Yeah, okay.
Got it? So Nazir
Mm-hmm.
is the person who's taking this bike. Okay. Now I have the identification. So whenever I want to see that particular, the bike, so based on that number, I have already the record mentioned. These number, the bike number, whatever I have it, assigned to the Nazir. Nazir is using that bike, correct?
Yeah.
The similar way, whenever the IP address is assigned to the particular MAC address, the MAC address is the hardware address of your computer or your device. You got my point?
Okay, I got it. I got it. For example, if I have iPhone, so iPhone has identify with the MAC address
Yes,
on the router.
on that iPhone, IP address will be allocated. Okay,
Okay, I got it. I got it.
this is how
And
it happens.
MAC address is a physical address and IP is a
Yes,
logical address.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
So here we can see that this is how the IP address has been allocated here, right? So here the offer is that. Offer is like 192.168.0.173 is an IP address, which are going to be mapped on these MAC address means these are the devices here. Okay. Now here, before I go further, and I would like to tell you one more thing here. Let's take in one situation here. So let's see the situation something like this. Mm, Imagine we have the ISP services and through which we have connected to the Wi-Fi router. Okay. Now we have this device. We have the device here. Now with device we have connected to the Wi-Fi router and we are getting access the internet services. Now I'm there with these area through which I'm getting access to this internet. Now, after some time, I went out. Possibilities are there, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Now, I went out for next 6 hours. Example, 6 hours, 8 hours, something like that. I'm not there in the network. I may be there somewhere out, right? So after 6 hours, I came back to the home here. Now, when I came back to the home, here, well, before I connected here, I got one IP address here, right? Let's take example 192.168.0.12. I got this IP address before. Now, when I came back here, again, I want to connect to the back to the internet. So while I'm connecting, is that I'll get the same IP address or the different IP address? This is my question again.
I think different one
Are,
because
are
IP
you
address got changed every time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
are you connecting with the same gadgets?
Yeah, same device. Same device.
No, it will be the same IP address.
Okay. What about others input? I request you can guess, no problem.
DHCP server provide different IP address every time. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's have a look on this. In these situations, what happens? There is something called as the network. We call as a IP address lease time count. What is that? IP address lease time count. So means like IP address lease time is nothing but how long that the IP address can be there with the user. It can be for 1 hours, 2 hour, 3 hours, 1 day, 2 day, like 8 days, 10 days, 3 months, 6 months, till 1 year. This will be a possibility, sir. You getting my point, everyone? Is that clear? Okay. So this is all are the
Not really.
settings are there. Now, if I'll say that, let's take example. If the IP address is defined for 8 days, let's say that for 8 days in the network setting, we have given the IP address lease time count can be there. So this is my time slots, right? So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where we can see that. Okay. So this is the 5, and then we can see that 6, 7, and this is 8. So we have this 8 days here. Okay. Now when we have this 8 days, so in this case, what happens? Every fourth day, there is a renewal process will be there. So whenever the renewal process is there, the user should be there in the network, or else the user have to perform the complete DORA process again. The IP address will be taken back to the IP pool, and he have to perform the complete process. It might be get the new IP address. But if I'll say that why there's a fourth day, so whatever the assigned time is there, like 4 days if there, so assigned time is two, like divided by two. So every second day it should be get defined. 8 days if I said like divided by two, then the fourth day. If I'll say 50 days, what would be the renewal day, guys, here? 25 days, right or not?
35 days.
Yes. So this is the IP address lease time count. So if you can see that here, over that, which I would like to tell you the same thing. IP address lease time count. Can you see this here, everyone? Yes.
Yes.
So what is the time here?
1 day.
1 day. What would be the renewal time should be there here?
6 hours. 12 hours.
12 hours, right? Because half of the day, na? So here you can see
Yeah.
that. So IP address renewal time here is a 12 hours. Can you see this here, everyone?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So this is the renewal time where we can see that here. So this is our subnet mask, any IP address dealing with this is the broadcast IP address, router IP address. Like, this is the offer. Now, the client will give a request. Client says that, okay, that's fine. I am okay with this IP address. So I got an requested IP address as 192.168.0.173. And my next server IP address is my router here. So based on these, the acknowledgement will be sent it. Now acknowledge saying that now your client IP address is 192.168.0.173. This is your server IP address, and the complete detail about what are the next process will be there. So what is the IP address lease time count is 1 day. What is the renewal time is like 12 hours. So here we can see that the subnet mask, like broadcast IP, router IP address is 192.168.0.1, and so on. Correct? Everybody is clear with this. So the DORA process, which we have discussed, this is the way where the IP address can be get allocated to the user. And how long this user can be hold this IP address? It depends upon the IP address lease time count which we have it. Based on that, it will be there for the longer time or the smaller, like shorter time, right? If I'll talk about it, example, as you said that, uh, I think Mahin has said that, right? So somebody have said that if I ask you the public IP address, there will be a free IP address will be there if you're going to Starbucks or might be you're going to the airports or you're going to the railway stations, you'll be getting a free Wi-Fi, correct? Yes or no, everyone?
Yes.
Now, when we are getting the free Wi-Fi, let's say that on the airport, if I'm getting like when I'm there at the airport, I get the free Wi-Fi here. So there will be hundreds of users will be there, right? Correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
So hardly you will be there in the network. How long? Mostly 2 hours or might be 4 hours, right or not?
Yes, yes.
So there the IP address will be assigned, like the least time count, they might make it as 2 hours only. Are you getting my point? The 2 hours they'll keep it. Now why the 2 hours they keep it? Because the user might may go after this 2 hours. But like every 1 hour, the Wi-Fi router will, the DSCP will check that is the user is there or not. Because half of this it will be the renewal time, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if it is there, it renew for the next 2 hours. Then every 1 hour they will check it if the user is there or not. If there, then next 2 hours. Then every 1 hour it will renew that. This is how the process will be taken place. I believe it is clear to everybody.
Sorry,
Yes.
what you mean is that since the IP address is for 2 hours, every 1 hour, the IP address will change.
No, no, it will get renew.
Okay,
The
to get
time will,
renewed.
yeah, time will get renew. Got it?
Okay.
See, means like I'm there in the network. Okay. I got an IP address 192.168.0.12. Let's take example. So this is for 2 hours, right? Every 1 hour
Yes.
it'll check this the user is there or not. If there, then it will increase the time for next 2 hours. If suppose by renewal time, if I'm not there now, so these IP address will take back to the IP pool, and the other user will may get allocate this IP address. You got my point?
Another user would be allocated to this IP address.
Sorry.
Are you saying another user after 1 hour, another user will be allocated to the IP address?
Yes. Once if you're not there on
Okay,
the
okay,
renew
okay.
time, if the renewal time, if the user is not there, means like this IP address taken to the IP pool back, and this can be given to some other user. Now, if you come
Okay.
here back to the network, you'll get again the complete new process as a new user.
Okay. But if you're there after 1 hour, you
Yeah,
will
it will be.
maintain the
It will.
same IP address.
Yes, you will be maintaining the same IP address.
Okay, okay, I got it now.
Yes. So users will get the same IP address until unless the renew time will be there here. You got Ganesh. Is it clear? Ganesh,
Yeah.
Nazir, Gayas,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Maliha, Arfat. Maliha, is that so clear? Everything till now? Arfat, everyone. I want you to answer me. Arif, AJ.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Iftikhar.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So this is some of very
So,
important basic.
sorry,
When
sir. A
yeah.
renewal time can be changed. Here you
No,
give
renewal
example
time.
2 hour.
Yeah, renewal time will always will be the same. Okay, means like
Same.
divided by two. Divided by two. Means like
No, no, no.
it's
It
all.
can be set. Suppose I'm standing in a railway station. I'm using internet. So when the admin can set 2 hour only, 2 hour only for internet me or not, or
Least time
more
count.
than 2 hour, 4 hour,
Yeah,
5 hours.
yeah.
It
You're
can be
talking about
set.
the. Yeah, it can be changed. It can be changed. That is the least
Uh,
time count. It's not like
okay,
renewal time. It's the least
okay,
time count. We can say that. Okay. So
okay,
least time count can be anything between 1 hour to 365 days, whatever they want it. At the network
okay,
settings, they have to do that. Okay.
okay, okay.
I have a question. So
Yes.
let's
Go ahead.
assume I'm at the airport and the IP address is for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I stay for that 2 hours. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the 2 hours, what happens? Will the IP address change automatically?
No, no. If you
Since
still see the IP address lease time count is for 2 hours, na? Got it. But renewal time is half of this, na? That is what I want
o-
you to tell you. Why the renewal
okay,
process is there to maintain an IP address with the user if the user is present in the network.
okay.
Got
Then
it?
if I stay on the network for 2 hours, at the end of the 2 hours, what happens?
See, I'll tell you. you got an IP address, right? You got an IP
Okay.
address in the network, okay? And the IP address lease time count is 2 hours, but you stay
Okay.
for next 12 hours in the same network, right?
Yes.
You'll get all 12 hours the same IP address what you got initially.
It
Okay.
will
Then
keep
after the
remaining.
2 hours, what happens?
After 2 hours, it not happen anything. After 1 hour, it will check the renew process. It will renew after 1 hour.
It will just update it like if the user is connected, then the internet will be continuously working. That's it. The IP will be the
Y-
same.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
I
So it
understand
means
that,
like
but after
I
so
mean to
what
say, I'll tell you. See, here, let's have a situation. See, what we have it here. Imagine a situation, if I'll talk about it. We are there at the airport here, right? Let's see
yeah,
that we are there at the airport. Now, when we are there at the airport, what happens? We got one IP address here. So this is the Wi-Fi router. We got it, and over this router, what we got it? We got one IP address allocation here. So I got an IP address, and here the IP address lease time count is 2 hours, right? Now, what would be the renewal time?
1 hour.
Half 1 hour.
Half of this, right? So this is the
Yeah.
renew time where we can see that.
Hmm.
Now,
Understand.
I stay in this network here. So when I say that in this network, I got one IP address, 192.168.0.12. Let's take example. I got this IP address through which I'm getting access to the network here. Now, while I'm getting access to the network with this IP address for 2 hours. Now, 1 hour is completed. Now again, so when the 1 hour is completed, after this, what happens? The router will do the renewal process. Let's check that the user is exists or not. If the user is there, it will keep the IP address same here. You got my point, everyone?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes,
If the
yes.
user is there, every 1 hour it will check the user is present or not. If the present, it keep the same IP address for this user. But at the renew time, if you're not there, let's imagine a situation. So we went out from this network. Now, at that time, if the router is going to check the user is there or not, when the user is not fine, then these IP address will be get free in the router database. Correct? Means
Mhm.
like it
Yes.
takes to the IP pool back here. Now, and it will take to the IP pool. Now, these will be allocated to some other user. So some new user came here. Now, he might may get this IP address here now. Now you got my point. What I'm saying.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Very
But
yes.
well.
if
Very well.
now, if you stay here the same times, like how long you'll be there. But the
Two
renew
hour.
time, if you're there, then you will be there the IP address here. Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
So renewal time is very important while assigning like the IP address. Based on that only, the user will get allocated. Okay? So all right,
Okay.
guys, this is what we have discussed. Some more details we're going to discuss in coming sessions. That is into slowly we'll gradually go to the some advanced. These are the basic we have discussed about the IP address, which is very important. If we have been working as a security specialist, and if we don't know the networking detail, right? So that we don't never be a good security specialist. Okay. So our main focus is to get understand more detail in the security. Networking we take as a basic, which is very important. We are not doing this course to become a network administrator. We are doing this course to get understand better way how we can analyze any security, or how we can design the security of an organization, how we can do the analysis on the different type of log when we've been working as a security specialist. Okay, got it.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So thank you very much for listening me. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Iftikhar, bro, I have one concern.
Yeah, please.
Could you please make a group, WhatsApp group, so that I can get an update, because I stay in the United States. Like yesterday, I missed my class. I don't know when the time has changed.
Nazir, actually,
So
this is a see. I'll tell you, Nazir. This is an open batch. Okay, we are going to be do this process completely once we onboard it. Right, the complete batch is going to be what are the people are getting onboarded. My backend team are
Mhm.
there, which are going to create a WhatsApp group, and give you all the resources, video access, everything. So don't worry about it. Last session, if you missed, we have already the video access for that. I'll tell my team to send you that. Okay. You can even
Yeah.
drop a message, the person who have share you this link to join the class. Okay.
Okay. And the timing will be the same, brother? Indian
Yes,
timing, 8 a.m.?
yes, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. will be the 9 a.m. will be the timing IST, and you can check with the CST and EST what is the time zone you have.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, brother.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah.
brother. I have another question for you.
Yes, sir. Far.
So how many days the class? 4 days from
Yeah, Monday to Thursday. Yes.
Monday to Thursday. Okay, got it. And another question for, so you show us the class that time. One is the public IP, DHCP IP address. That's gonna be least time. We divided half. Last 2 hours, we divided half. How is the standard for that one, the public IP
No,
address?
public is fixed. Public will never
Pub,
get changed.
never. How is the
Yeah.
private one? How many days we're gonna keep that one? It's depend on the.
Maximum. Yeah, it depends upon the compliance. It depends upon the policies which are there in the organization. Like, if I talk about, especially when we talk about the corporate. But if you say, what would be the minimum and maximum time? So it may be in hours as a minimum, and the maximum can be like 1 year. 365 days is the maximum.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the maximum is 365 days, and the minimum is.
In hours, we can consider.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much, guys. See you in the
You're
next
welcome.
session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
brother.
Bye. Bye, everyone.